Good evening, welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Richard Ayoade. In the news this week, in Westminster, Jacob Rees-Mogg's children have been enlisted to help with checking that people are at their place of work. In Derby, attempting to avoid the paparazzi, Wayne Rooney regrets hiding in his mate's van. And in Devon, Neil Parish's Webb history reveals the entirely innocent nature of his search for dirty bitches ploughing. On Ian's team tonight is a BBC journalist described by The Times as having a voice that would sound soothing, announcing the apocalypse. He's taken a break from rehearsing that to be here. Please welcome Justin Webb. On Paul's team tonight is a comedian who I'm told is a big fan of Leeds. Me too, it does have an excellent art gallery. Please welcome Maisie. We begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Justin, have a look at this.
That's the Prime Minister voting. The dog voted Lib Dem.
And the Prime Minister voted local Conservative.
There's Keir Starmer. Trying to remember where he is. That's the Scottish census. There's 5 of them. Anyway, this is the nation afire with the local elections. Look at them. We don't know the results yet, but we're waiting. On the edge of our seats.
Also, like, I didn't know you could take your dog in with you. Is that
It's a
common?
thing. As well as looking up tractors, you can actually Google dogs in polling offices. That's not a euphemism.
No, and whatever you do, don't Google bitch on a pole.
This is the local elections.
It is.
Yes.
This is news that local elections are taking place amidst a cost of living crisis. What did Boris Johnson do this week for the first time since 2017?
He appeared on Good Morning Britain instead of appearing on the Today programme, where he could have had a perfectly easy ride from the sort of milk-soppy BBC interviewers.
He enjoys doing interviews, Nick Robinson. He had to talk about an actual person who was feeling the pinch, and he found it difficult.
Yes, he did an interview on ITV's Good Morning Britain, his first since one where he entered a fridge. Again, not a euphemism. We don't know what he did in that fridge. How was the Prime Minister tripped up by 77-year-old Elsie?
Physically, I'd like to see that.
Was this the question about trying to keep the house warm?
Yes.
And this was an example of his brilliant debating skills.
Yes.
Because an elderly pensioner said, "I'm so cold, I go out on the bus to keep warm." And he said, "Ha-ha, but you can only do that because I let you."
Let's look at Boris, how he answers this inquiry.
Let's talk about Elsie and what we're doing. And just remind you that the 24-hour Freedom Bus Pass was something that I actually introduced.
It was not his finest hour. Anyway, he didn't invent that bus pass. That wasn't true either. She would have been entitled to go on the bus all day and keep warm anyway.
Lucky Elsie.
Yes. We do spoil them. Yes.
There was another very, very good moment. Susanna Reid said to him, "What are you doing?" And he said, "We're doing everything we can." And she said, "But could you do more?" And he said, "Yes."
Boris Johnson, of course, got into some trouble during the course of an interview before the election for saying he didn't know who Lorraine was.
Did you see the way Ian's eyes glazed over there?
I know who she is. She invented a quiche.
Exactly.
When Environment Minister George Eustace was later asked about Elsie's
You've mispronounced his name.
I know.
Useless.
Yes. When he was later asked about Elsie's plight, he mistakenly called her Elsa. But of course, Elsa is in Frozen, whereas Elsie just is frozen.
Well, for heaven's sake, just let it go.
What advice did George Useless offered to those struggling with the rise in cost of living.
Buy cheaper brands of food.
Yes.
Supermarkets'
Yeah.
own brands, sort of thing.
Exactly, yes. He told Sky News, generally speaking, what people find is that by going for some sort of value brand rather than own branded products, they can actually contain and manage their household budget. Mr. Eustace also pointed out that competition between supermarkets help keep the price down of things like spaghetti. Not spaghetti, things like it. You can't get spaghetti any cheaper. While admitting that it's harder to keep prices down on other items such as chicken and poultry. Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries. Is that
how
I
you
call her
say
Dorries. She's still banging on about privatising Channel 4, but what did she say on LBC this week?
You got the clip?
Would you like the clip?
Yeah.
Sounds like you want the clip.
Play the clip.
Here it is.
Because they used to done that really well since they were privatised and a small number of years ago, I think it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, is Channel 5. If you look at the amount of investment Channel 5 puts into the regions and how well Channel 5 has done since it's been privatised.
And what
You talked about how well Channel 5 has done since being privatised, but, Justin...
It was never publicly owned, and that is a little trickiness that, some people unkindly pointed out.
Have you ever interviewed her, Justin? You ever interviewed Nadine Dorries?
No, I haven't, actually, no.
Would you say she was the thickest person you've never interviewed?
No, not I would studiedly not say that.
Would you really?
Thank you very much. Nor would I say it before you start on anyone else that I either have or have not interviewed in the course of what was, until this moment, a reasonable career.
Yes. I can sense the nervousness from here.
Well, let's move to Jeremy Hunt. What is former Foreign and Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt hoping to launch?
Leadership bid, presumably.
Yes, a leadership bid. He came a distant second to Johnson in the 2019 contest, but according to the Daily Mail, is sounding out potential cabinet ministers if the local elections prove disastrous for the Tories. But one cabinet ally of Johnson told the Mail, Jeremy Hunt is Theresa May without the personality. While another said, I don't know what the question is if Jeremy Hunt is the answer. Or maybe the question is, what is the correct way to pronounce Jeremy Hunt's name?
Yes.
Here's Justin on the Today programme.
The Express says elderly people would not be forced to sell their homes to pay for social care under plans being drawn up by the government. The paper says the Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt is understood to favour a cap on social care, which would limit how much people need to pay for.
I'm baffled as to why you were worried about the Nadine Dorries bid now.
What do you make of Jeremy Hunt's leadership ambitions?
Provided there are no consonants to mess up, then it's fine with me.
Justin, did you have the air of a man who's being interviewed by the police? For a crime that you know you've committed?
Local elections have been taking place. What do Tory strategists fear most?
Overwhelmingly huge losses by the Tory party at the to yesterday's elections.
Yes.
I was astonished as everybody else when I tuned into the news on Friday morning and saw what actually had happened. And nobody could have predicted it.
We'll just have to make something up. The results are in.
It was a draw.
I can't believe it went to penalties.
Yes?
What, fixed penalties?
Well, let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Are we going to see now?
Yeah, we are going to see now. But also we're going to talk about the top story.
All right.
Here it is.
Boris Johnson has spent his first night in prison. He was sentenced to 2.5 years for hiding assets to avoid paying debts.
Naghman Chetty getting her tennis-playing, financially murky blonde Boris is confused there.
Oh, it's Becca.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, easy mistake to make.
It's easy to...
Wives, broom cupboards, children.
Yeah, could have been Philip Schofield. Another council meeting being held on Zoom has become heated. this time in Australia. Shall we take a look? The meeting of councillors in a suburb of Perth had been going on for 4 hours, and Councillor Rod Bradley had had enough.
Councillor Mann. Councillor Bradley, okay, I'm just going to stop you now, Councillor Bradley. Councillor Bradley, you're being ridiculous. Now, if you need me to go to the standing orders, Councillor Bradley, can you just turn off your microphone? You're acting like a child, and we don't think it's really
I'm acting like a bloody cross
Councillor
councillor.
Bradley, I'd like you to turn off your microphone, please, because you're out of order.
I'm really cross
and
with
I'm
you,
trying to find
absolutely
the section
stupid.
in the standing orders where 13.6, it's serious disorder. And you can just basically not talk on this item now, and please just turn off your microphone, Councillor Bradley.
No, I won't.
Incredible.
There we go. We can't see him, so, you know, his oxygen tank may have become detached. We don't know. This is the news that the Conservatives were hammered in the local elections. And given we're recording this on Thursday, just to cover all eventualities, I'll do an alternate take. This is the news that the Tories were annihilated in the local elections. Also this week, Boris Johnson appeared on ITV's Good Morning Britain. He was interviewed by Susanna Reid, who was then angrily accused by the Daily Mail of putting him off by using the underhand tactic of being a woman. When Susanna Reid mentioned Lorraine Kelly, a clearly panicked Prime Minister asked, "Who's Lorraine?" "Don't worry, Boris, you've never met her, and she's not pregnant." Paul and Maisie, take a look at this.
Yes. Oh, is Keir making a curry that's spicier than his and Angela Rayner's working relationship? They're learning how to build a cabinet. Huh?
And there we are. That's it. Your horse is in perfect health. Yes, so this is the story about Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer possibly breaking lockdown rules?
Yes, this is Keir and a beer and a mutton paneer. Back in February, he was investigated by Durham police over a potentially illegal gathering in 2021 in the Durham Miners' Hall where, according to The Sun, Keir Starmer quaffed a San Miguel...
Is that the true quote? He quaffed?
Yeah.
Yeah. A San Miguel lager. He quaffed it, Maisie. And ate a curry. How did Richard Madeley describe the event on Good Morning Britain?
Oh, well, this is the important quote of the week. I seem to have missed this.
I'm too busy watching videos of combine harvesting.
Yes, well, this is what Madeley said.
Yeah.
It was 10 o'clock at night. There were takeaways, bottles of beer, and social intercourse with 30 people. Well, Keir Starmer has strenuously denied any wrongdoing. Also, according to an anonymous person who was there and who messaged the Politics Joe website, it wasn't a social gathering because I hate them all. Well, the police are being encouraged to reopen their investigation into the curry-based event by local Tory MP, Richard Holden. How did The Sun express this? So bear in mind, it's The Sun, they're working with Curry, they've got police,
Yep.
they've got one of the strongest writing rooms in the country.
Yep.
What are they coming up with?
Curry and writing. Korma police? No, it wouldn't make sense.
That would have... In fact, that is slightly better than what they did.
Really?
Here it is. Backed into a korma. Pretty good. But then, this is why the writing room is so good. It works in depth. Let's go in close. Dal na na na. OK?
The Tory press have been very, very keen after spending 3 weeks saying, oh, move on, get on with it, there's a war on, stop going on about parties. Then they spent 5 days saying, Beergate, Keirgate,
Yes.
Beergate, beer, pizza, no, curry then.
And then our friend Nadine Dorris, she tweeted a photo of Keir having a curry. And it was with this gentleman, and she said, and I think the article was from the Daily Mail, and she was circulating it around going, there needs to be an appropriate response to this, how awful. And the person Keir is having dinner with in that photo died in 2019. So that it's completely impossible, and especially
It's
when you
fake
think,
news.
especially when you think Nadine, as Culture Secretary, is in charge of making sure the spread of disinformation doesn't happen. It's completely ridiculous. Me and Paul were saying the exact thing when we were out for dinner with Bruce Forsyth the other night.
Exactly the same thing.
Awful.
And they're very keen to make equivalence between the one event here and the 50 fines to date issued on 10 Downing Street. Now, if you look at the two venues, it's quite difficult to make that an equivalence, isn't it, Justin?
Why don't they just say what you've just said? You know, it did drip out a bit. It caused them some difficulties, no doubt.
And they were a bit slow on your programme, weren't they?
They were very slow on our programme. Again and again, the question, have the police been back in touch? Well, I don't know. You know, why not just say? Why not just say what happens?
I think they're trying to appear as though they could be in government and sort of lie a bit.
The Times speculated about how the story might damage Labour in the eyes of the electorate and came to the conclusion that there was one thing in Keir's favour.
He's not Boris Johnson.
The Times think Starmer is protected by his own dullness.
That is a horrible bonus to have.
Who spared us from yet another inquiry into bad behaviour?
Is this Neil Parish?
Yes.
Yes, he resigned after being spotted watching pornography in the House of Commons.
Do we think that he was Googling a Dominator combine harvest?
Combine harvest.
That's right.
We think that's quite plausible,
Yeah,
don't we?
I think that's quite plausible. I mean, obviously the second time he wasn't, but the first time... But apparently if you now Google whatever it is, you just get a picture of him.
Yes, that is right. To be fair, he apologised to his wife, and it really was a message to wives everywhere. My poor wife, I'm sorry you married a fucking idiot. It's an evergreen statement. This week, Keir Starmer was faced with more questions over his beer and curry night in Durham. One Labour Party official has conceded that at the controversial curry and beers night, there were biryanis, rice and naan. So Angela Rayner was there. Also, this week, Conservative MP Neil Parish resigned after watching pornography in the House of Commons. The Daily Mail described Neil Parish as an MP who has campaigned passionately for better rural broadband. He is passionate. And so to round two, the picture swirl of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
I don't want to know. OK, this is something that's fallen from the sky. It must be the remains of a meteorite. It's fallen from the sky. There's two neighbours here who are sharing the spoils of what happened when this meteorite fell from the sky and landed in their back garden.
You're right.
Go on, Paul, come on.
You are right. It's Louise and Rose, Shropshire residents. They think they found parts of a meteorite. Locals in the town of Winchcombe have been hunting high and low for pieces of the space rock that fell to Earth 3 weeks ago, although out of over 100 possible sightings, none have been confirmed as meteors. What is it about Louise and Rose's rock that means it is not thought to be part of the meteorite?
She's clearly into a rock, though, because she's got an AC/DC jacket on.
That's right. Dr. Anya O'Brien, who is a member of the UK Fireball Alliance, heck of an alliance, told the Shropshire Star, in the case of Louise's rock, it is bobbly on top and not as smooth as we would expect a meteorite to be. Although Rose is having none of it, retorting, if it isn't meteor rock, I'm not sure what it is, because it has only appeared in the garden in the last 2 weeks. Your move, Fireball Alliance. This is the news that two women in Shropshire haven't found part of a meteorite. It's big news. After searching the wheat fields of Shropshire, 4 fragments of meteorite, the search team leader stated, we have literally been looking for a needle in a haystack. You literally haven't. Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your 4 are Jacob Rees-Mogg, the Duke of Windsor, Jon Snow and Irene Sparks from New Zealand.
That's Jacob Rees-Mogg with his father.
Has it ever been established who his father is?
Yeah, no, he was born in about 1570. Duke of Windsor.
Yes, what was he famous for?
Being a bit of a fascist.
Yeah.
And abdicating from the throne, obviously.
Yes.
And working there as a consultant in a sex clinic.
What was Jon Snow famous for wearing while he was presenting?
Ties.
Oh, yeah, jazzy ties.
Yes.
Loved
Isn't there a Duke of Windsor knot? Isn't there something? Is that?
Oh,
is
yeah.
that something to do with it?
Yes.
So he's the odd one out because he's had a sort of like a tie knot named after him, while all the others are famous for wearing ties.
That is the right answer.
No, brilliant.
That is the right answer. They are all grabbatologists, tie collectors, apart from the Duke of Windsor, who gave his name to a knot.
What did you say? What's the term?
Grabbatologists.
A grabbatologist?
A grabbatologist.
I thought that was Donald Trump.
Yes.
What is a Duke of Windsor knot?
It's a thick knot.
A really thick knot
That
is the
was
Prince
more.
Andrew.
For those not familiar with Irene Sparks of Umaru, New Zealand, what tie-based world record does she hold?
Has she got the most?
Yes, she has the largest collection. There she is.
What a photo shoot! Wow.
There's a fine line between collection and breakdown.
Incredible.
Do we know how many ties she's got? 10,000.
Higher.
10,000?
21,321, beating the previous record holder by over 5,000. So it wasn't even neck and neck. As a side note, I mean, in a way, this whole show's been a side note. What were you not meant to do to another man's tie in the 1800s?
Oh, you'll know this.
Why?
Oh, I didn't. No, I didn't mean it like that.
There's no other way of meaning
no,
it.
I'm sorry, Paul. I meant you really like.
I look like somebody who'd know about ties in the 1800s. OK, let's see if I do know this. You're not allowed to twiddle somebody else's tie. You're not allowed to set fire to it. You're not allowed to...
You were right with twiddle.
See?
You're not allowed to touch. Twiddling, or as we say in modern times, touching,
Yes.
Another man's neckwear was grounds for a duel. Dean Pugh of Worcestershire does not collect ties, but he does collect something. It's something edible.
Right, so it's something edible.
It's something edible.
Packet soup.
Good, you're on fire.
No, it can't be.
Yes, it's pot noodles. You're on fire, Paul. This is unbelievable. You've just reached the next level of consciousness.
Yeah.
He collects pot noodles. The self-styled pot noodle king claims to have eaten 4,000 in his lifetime. Here he is. We're just being wry. Here is what he actually looks like.
Wow.
Yes. He's recently acquired a pot noodle vending machine that plays music whilst cooking them. What else was special about it?
Oh, God.
What would still be in one of those vending machines? An old pot noodle.
How
A
extraordinary.
14-year-old out-of-date beef and tomato snack, which he, of course, ate.
No.
Dean said they tasted awful. I could only imagine licking the bottom of my granny's knicker drawer. I don't think Dean had to imagine that. They're all grabbatologists, except the Duke of Windsor, who gave his name to a tie knot. According to Wikipedia, the Windsor knot is sometimes referred to as a full Windsor to distinguish it from the half Windsor. A half Windsor, of course, is not a tie, but Prince Andrew's new status. Mrs. Irene Sparks put on her best frock to meet the press after achieving her world record by collecting 21,321 ties, though sadly Mr. Sparks didn't join her as he was upstairs trying to decide which one to hang himself with. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication Fireworks magazine. If you find it initially disappointing, don't go back to it. And we start with couple in Sunderland leave what at interval after expecting to what?
Dominator combine harvester show after expecting to have more fun.
Couple in Sunderland leave Sunderland at interval after expecting to find themselves in Newcastle.
The answer is the Share Show and see Real Share.
Please tell me the tribute show is called Share and Share Alike.
In Sunderland, the Real Share Show.
Should we answer the rest of the questions in the voice of Johnny Vegas?
That's Johnny Vegas for the rest of the round. We'll do it right.
Is it the real share show?
That's right.
In Sunderland?
That'll cut in beautifully with what we've shot already, Paul.
All you've got to do is give the answers Ian Mimes and we can dub him.
It'll be seamless.
Yes, this is a couple who paid £13 to see a shared tribute act in Sunderland, who were disappointed not to see the real thing. It's understandable. I was just as disappointed when I went to see Jesus Christ Superstar. Next, to indicate when a firework should be set off, Graham would what?
Fire a gun, bang a gun.
He does some striking.
Hits the nearest person with a mallet.
This is extraordinary stuff. Hit his assistant on the head with a piece of wood.
Oh, my God!
Oh, no.
Extraordinary
How
stuff.
are you doing it?
This is from Fireworks magazine, in which Graham explains how he would communicate over the noise of fireworks. So while everyone else was going, ooh, ah, his assistant was going, ooh, ah. And finally, what quits what, saying, I've had a blast.
Catherine quits the wheel industry.
The answer is Anne Robinson and Countdown.
Oh.
Anne Robinson announced she is leaving Countdown this week, and according to reports, the current favourite to replace her is former Pointless co-host Richard Osman. Where am I going with this link? You might well wonder. You may have wondered this the entire show. It's just an excuse to show you this.
Give us your answers.
The top one is Caressa Dick. The former Sam Allardyce, Vince Cable. I think I'll go for Caressa Dick.
OK, do you want to say that one more time?
Caressa Dick.
OK, Caressa Dick.
Yeah.
If you can get below this red line with Caressa Dick.
None of us. I mean, we wouldn't know what that felt like, would we, Justin? The final scores are Ian and Justin have 5, Paul and Maisie 8.
Oh.
No. Very good. But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
NASA astronauts still working from home.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Justin Webb, Paul Merton and Maisie Adam. And I leave you with news that Whiskers admits that an employee may have accidentally contaminated their latest batch of cat food with marijuana. At the Labour Party local election HQ, Keir Starmer tries to hide his anger from the laundry lady who put all the campaign's red flags on a hot wash. And following the latest pornography in the Commons scandal, another MP appears to have been circulating photos of an orgy. Good night.
For more Friday Night Funnies, head over to BBC Sounds. The best satirical comedy from Radio 4 is ready and waiting. Or stay with us here on One. What happens on a night out stays on a night out, right, girls? The new series of The Other One is next.